Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our Women's Advanced Bible Study on the 7th of March, 2024. And what we'll be dealing with, the topic for discussion is we'll be dealing with Zipporah and also Noah's wife. We'll watch a little video on it, then we'll go into breaking it down and doing discussion. Okay, go to our YouTube channel, to Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have like over 900 videos that you can look at and examine. If you like what you're hearing and receiving them through these videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay. And like I said before, our hours of operation has changed. It's from 7 to 9, uh, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And on Fridays, it's 7 to 9, but we're on Clubhouse, Non-Messianic Conversations. It's the name of the room. And then we come back on Saturday with two Shabbats, one in the morning from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. And we close out the Shabbat from 6 to 7 p.m. In the evening. Okay. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah only. Tanakh is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of hosts, our Redeemer. They consist of our laws, statutes, judgments, our culture, our way of life. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms, women help moment, little current events, some needed new information. Then we'll open it up for some questions and comments, some dialogue. Then we'll go into our topic for discussion, which is we'll be dealing with Moses' wife, Zipporah, and Noah's wife. Okay, and then we'll do some reading out of the scriptures. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down, honoring you, praising you, and believing in you. And we thank you for your wisdom, the knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And through your prophets, you reveal the times that we as Jacob's children will endure this tribulation, the last one. Keep us, O Lord, and guide us and deliver us. We see you now within the Holy Scriptures, O Lord, and we trust you with all our heart and with all our soul. Keeping up that silence will shine forth upon our enemies with that great power and that great glory. Okay. So with that being said, somebody gonna read a psalm.
Shalom, yes, sir. I'll be reading. Well, I'm having trouble with my phone right now. Sorry, because I'm not where I want to read Psalms 10.
Okay.
Okay, hold on, I'm almost there. Thank you. Not getting a good connection, guys. I do apologize here. Almost there. Okay, Psalms 10, verse 1. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetousness whom the Lord abhorred. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait as a lion, secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thy hand. Forget not the humble. Wherefore doeth the wicked contempt God? He hath said in his heart, Thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou holdest mischief and spite to requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Verse 15, break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare thy heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear. Verse 18, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. That was Psalms 10, verses 1 through 18. And it's my perception of this is talking about the Esau spirit, the wicked, and how the wicked do not turn to the Lord, and what it describes what they do, the character of this wickedness in man, and how Esau tries to pull the wicked closer to him so that he can destroy him. And if he doesn't listen to the Lord of hosts and turn from his wicked ways, then he too will be judged, and he will continue to be oppressed. Shalom.
Okay, yeah, okay. Anybody else? Yeah, so I was looking at verses 14. It says, Thou hast seen it, for thou upholdest mischief and spite to quit it with thy hand. The poor committed himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. So this is back to what I was talking about yesterday in Jeremiah about what's expected of us as he said right here, we only doing what he do. And it says, Thou hast seen it, just like we see it, but thou beholdest mischief and spite to quit it. So that's what it was known about Moses, was that Moses and Enoch also, that they requited, they excused evil. When it came to their mind, they excused it. They out of their face, out of their mind when they saw it. They said, the poor committed himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless, right there. Fatherless. That's somebody, kids without no father. We see that all over the place. And then he come back again in 18. Judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. So that's our role as custodians of the planet. No matter who they are, if they being oppressed and the fathers, us being the custodians of the planet is our job to uh, break that, judge it. That's what they was doing in Sodom, and what they was doing in Tyre, even in Nineveh. And that's why he came. One of the main reasons he came, and then and cut it off, rooted it out, Okay, so that being said, we go on to our women's health moment.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on journey of food through the digestive system. Did you know that the process of digestion is an incredible and complex journey? From the moment we take a bite of food, it embarks on a remarkable trip through our body, involving various organs and processes to break down nutrients and eliminate waste. Digestion is important because your body needs nutrients from the food you eat and the liquids you drink to stay healthy and function properly. Nutrients include carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Your digestive system breaks down and soaks up the nutrients from the food and liquids you consume to use for important things like energy, growth, and repairing cells. I'm sorry, I lost my place right there. What organs make up the digestive system? The main organs that make up your digestive system are the organs known as your gastrointestinal tract. They are your mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and rectum. Assisting your GI organs along the way are your pancreas, gallbladder, and liver. All of these organs work together in your digestive system. From the mouth, where the food is broken down by teeth and saliva, to the stomach, where it's mixed with powerful gastric juices, and on to the small intestine, where the bowel and digestive enzymes work together to soak up nutrients. What are some of the ways to keep a healthy digestive system? Drink water often. Water helps the food you eat flow more easily through your digestive system. Low amounts of water in your body, which we know as dehydration, are a common cause of constipation. Include fiber in your diet. Eat a balanced diet. Be sure to eat several servings of fruit and vegetables every day. Limit the amount of sugar you consume. Eat mindful and chew your food. Eating slowly gives your body time to digest your food properly. It also allows your body to send you cues that it is full. Exercise. Physical activity and gravity help move food through your digestive system. Taking a walk, for example, after you eat a main meal, can help your body digest food more easily and manage your stress. Stress is associated with digestive tissues issues such as constipation, diarrhea, and IBS. Eating food is not only one of the greater pleasures of life, but eating healthy and maintaining a proper diet is also essential for your well-being. The foods you eat nourish your body and provide essential minerals, proteins, and fibers that provide energy to your body. It also helps in enhancing the performance of your vital organs. I'm going to read Sirach chapter 2, verses 15 through 18. Those who fear the Lord will not disobey his words. Those who love him will keep his ways. Those who fear the Lord will seek his good pleasure. Those who love him will be filled with the law. Verse 17. Those who fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and will humble their souls in his sight. We will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so also is his mercy. Tonight's discussion was on the journey of food through the digestive system, and I read Sirach chapter 2, verses 15 through 18. Shalom.
Okay, appreciate that information. Okay, anybody have any comments on it? Okay, we're gonna go to our okay. Uh, okay.
Remember when we talked about Ukrainian refugees that were fleeing their country because of the Russia-Ukraine war and arriving in the UK and being shocked that Black people live in the UK amongst the whites, right? And they were shocked to see Muslims are around. And I remember how people responded to that story, because it's bizarre that in this day and age, people can react the way they're reacting to different skin tones and different people or different religions. So I'll remind you, in case you forgot about that story, I'll show you in a little bit, but I want to tell you what the story is about today. And it is about the same thing happening, but in Sri Lanka. This time around, Russian and Ukrainians that left the war and went to different countries as refugees, as people that need help from these different countries and different people, how they are acting in other people's countries. And in Sri Lanka specifically, they have allegedly opened a white-only bar.
So you mean to tell me that a bunch of these people escaped their war-torn country to seek refuge in a different country, and the first thing that they figured out was how to segregate themselves from the locals? Just seems like it's such a natural, ingrained, evolutionary state. Like, where does it actually come from? I'm just so curious.
You cannot make this stuff up. These are the same people that were fleeing their countries, both Russia and Ukraine, because of the ongoing conflict. But somehow they find a way to exclude others in their own countries. So this is why I mentioned earlier, during the wars broke out and the UK and other European countries were opening their doors to let in these refugees, because guess what? These are not the same kind of refugees. These are not Black refugees. These are not Arab refugees. So they welcomed them with an open arm, and they were even saying that these are blue-eyed, blonde-haired people like us. We should care more. And it was a whole controversy, if you remember. So when they were let in the UK, they were shocked to see how Black people are there and Muslims are there in the same communities as white people. Watch this clip, we'll come back and discuss.
After a week of staying there, her guest told her there were too many Muslims in the area.
We were quite shocked at how difficult she found different cultures. She felt there were just too many Muslims. Too many Muslims, too many people with different skin colors.
Her guest's son was enrolled into the local school, where the majority of children happened to be Black and Asian.
And then to just have her complain about the demographic of the school and going, well, he can't be safe there. There's not enough white kids, essentially. The majority of my neighbors are Muslims, a lot of them are Kashmiris or Pakistanis, Indians, and they're wonderful people. And you just felt if you just would sort of give them the time, perhaps we'd come to the same conclusion.
They both agreed to end the placement.
Where I became to the worst area of Birmingham, unfortunately.
Oksana moved here from Kyiv last summer. She admits that at first, living side by side with so many different cultures made her feel afraid.
I was very afraid because it was not usually for me, and some people just told me about so many dangerous stories.
As you saw, that was such a shock for these refugees, and they were not able to adapt and live amongst the others. And this explains why, when the war first broke out, they were treating our people like they were not human beings, like they don't deserve to live. They were prioritizing their own people to get on that train, to get on that bus, to get on that flight, to leave Ukraine, but they were not allowing others, especially Black people, on those buses and trains. If you remember, there was even a sad story that came out when they were saying, okay, now pregnant women, mothers, we're going to give you the priority to come in the bus. So there were Black women that were trying to get on the bus because they're pregnant, because they have kids. They were told, no, not you, Ukrainians, not you, our people. So it was just such a sad time to report on, and we've seen so many people cry. We walk miles and miles, and for hours and for days. So it explains why that happened to them, because clearly they don't see our people as human beings, and they've proven to us time and time again. I guess it's up to us now to believe them when they tell us who they are. But anyways, Fab.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom. I remember that Poland didn't want the blacks to come in either.
Exactly. Yeah, so like I was saying before, it's Ezekiel 37 is right there in our face. They it's a hatred. The girl was talking, saying that she don't know where it's coming from. No, just go to the scriptures. So that's what he tells us in Ezekiel 35, that call it a hatred for Jacob. Blood is gonna pursue
Over
him.
3.6 million people take the New York City.
Yeah, so you can see that. It shouldn't be no surprise. I mean, what's astonishing to me is they refugees. They in a desperate situation, and they concern is about Black folks. Don't want to deal with Black folks, just like the Mexican. Like I said, 1 hour or 30 minutes earlier, you trying to get across the Rio Grande, wading out in the water, and then an hour later you on this side of the river, but now you got a problem with the Black folks. And you were just in a pickle 30 minutes ago. And then you get over here still wet, half-ass dressed, but you got a problem with the Black folks. That's astonishing to me. And you're not even a citizen.
Shalom. It also, when COVID broke out in China, they treated the Black people that was over there for school. They wanted them to get back to Africa. They was putting them out of China, and they didn't want them to be in. When the COVID came about, they were taking them out of school when they were over there. So they also have a problem with them too.
Right. Yeah, but like I was saying before too, you can they've told us, so-called church fathers, that Ham, Shem, and Japheth's brothers. Well, hell, I can't tell. It seems like everybody know that they're not our brothers, but us. They show you that we ain't no kin. Okay.
City subway every day.
I'm always mindful of my environment. I'm always looking.
This morning, the National Guard will be checking bags after a rash of violent assaults on the nation's largest train system. One high-profile case, this horrifying moment, a woman smashed cellist Ian Forrest in the head while he was performing on a subway platform.
A lot of pain, didn't know what happened.
The increased security, part of the New York governor's plan to crack down on crime.
These brazen, heinous attacks on our subway system will not be tolerated.
It builds on the 1,000 additional NYPD officers New York City's.
So this is the crazy thing about this. How the hell they get here? You saying that you're not gonna allow them this and that? I mean, you let them move here, they won't be able to do this. They don't make that long. You can't reach all the way from the Rio Grande to New York. You'd have kept their ass over there, then they could have done that.
Mayor ordered to patrol the trains last month after a reported 45% spike in transit crimes in January. The latest Gallup poll finds that 77% of Americans believe crime is on the rise nationwide. But that perception is not the reality in most places. The FBI says violent crimes are actually on the decline after a nationwide surge in 2020. Still, some cities are facing big challenges. In Philadelphia, 8 teenagers were shot at a city bus stop, just hours after the transit police chief there pledged an aggressive push against all crimes on public transportation.
We're going to target every criminal code.
Despite the national trends, Washington, D.C. saw a historic spike in violent crimes last year, up 39%.
The bill's approved unanimously.
The D.C. Council passed a massive bill aimed to make the district safer, including increased penalties for some gun offenses and expanding the definition of carjacking. Here in New York City, Transit Chief Michael Kemper says the increased police presence on subways is a deterrent.
If anyone's thinking of coming into the subway system with a weapon, there's probably a good chance they're going to get caught.
Okay. Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. No comment. We'll move on to this. It's got some need to know information right here.
New bone conducting headphones are revolutionizing the tech industry.
Channel. You've likely heard of the term apocryphal before. It refers to ancient writings that are carefully guarded, often unknown to the general public. Recently, there has been an increased interest in some of these apocryphal books, which are not part of common biblical canon but are found in certain Christian traditions. In this video, I will share information about these ancient writings with you. Please watch until the end, leave a like if you find it relevant, and share your opinions in the comments. The mystery of the hidden apocryphal books. Let's begin by discussing the etymology and origin of the word apocryphal. The term has its roots in ancient Greek, where apo means away and cryptein means to hide or to conceal. In late Latin, apocryphal translates as secret. Therefore, we can understand that apocryphal basically means something hidden from those who are outside, that is, concealed or guarded. Apocryphal books weren't
concealed from the Israelites.
Named arbitrarily. In fact, in the past, the Catholic Church kept these books under lock and key, preventing them from being read by all, with the intention of preserving the ancient knowledge contained within them. Apocryphal books, also known as deuterocanonical or pseudo-canonical, are a collection of religious texts that were not included in the official canon of the major Abrahamic religions such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These books were written in different periods and in various regions of the world. Apocryphal books of the Old Testament include texts such as the Book of Tobit, the Book of Judith, the Book of Baruch, the Book of Wisdom, the Book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, as well as additions to the books of Esther and Daniel. These are mainly found in Catholic versions of the Bible and are considered canonical by some Eastern traditions. However, Protestant and Jewish churches traditionally do not consider them part of the biblical canon, viewing them as of historical or devotional value, but not inspired in the same way as other books of Scripture. The reason for the exclusion of these texts varies, but it is generally related to the lack of historical authenticity or the absence of recognition by religious leaders of the time. Apocryphal books of the New Testament are those written by early Christians but were not included in the canon of the New Testament accepted by most Christian churches. Among these books are the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Judas, and the Gospel of Philip, among others. These texts often offer alternative perspectives on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ, but were rejected as non-canonical by leaders of the early church, in part due to concerns about their historical and doctrinal authenticity. The fascinating and mysterious aspect of this subject is that many of these apocryphal books were actually part of the sacred canons of the Hebrew people, both before and during the time of Jesus. This connection to the ancient tradition of the people of Israel and the mysteries surrounding these texts add even more interest to this issue. Some Bible translations, such as the Septuagint, included several other books and additional chapters to the book of Daniel, addressing very interesting subjects. Besides the Septuagint, the Dead Sea Scrolls revealed that the collection of sacred books for the ancient Jews was significantly broader than our current canon of 66 books. While our canon contains 66 books, other canons include many more. The Catholic canon, the Ethiopian canon, among others, feature a variety of additional books. Many of these books were removed from the Holy Bible by the Catholic Church but are mentioned in the 66 books of the Bible. Interestingly, the Bible itself makes reference to these writings and even cites extensive passages from them. For instance, the Book of Jasher and the Book of Enoch are cited in the Scriptures, as well as the Book of Jasher, which is mentioned more than once. These references highlight the diversity and richness of the sacred texts that were in circulation during biblical times. From this point onward, I will present a compilation of books mentioned in both the Old Testament and the New Testament of the Bible. These writings are part of the ancient canon of the ancient Hebrews, the ancient Israelites, and the early Christians. I will start with the Book of Jasher, also known as Jasher, mentioned in the Book of Joshua, chapter 10, verse 13, and in 2 Samuel, chapter 1, verse 18. Furthermore, it is referenced in 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 8. From the context of the Book of Samuel, it is suggested to have been a collection of poetry from various books. Currently, many works claim to be this lost book, however, it is indeed missing. Many of these works are pseudo-epigraphical copies, where the authors simply title themselves as the Book of Jasher, though they are not, as the original book is lost, as far as we know. In addition to the Book of Jasher, we also have the Book of the Wars of the Lord, mentioned in Numbers, chapter 21, verse 14. This book is also cited in the Book of Jasher, translated by Moses Samuel and edited by H. Perry in 1887, in chapter 90, verse 48, as a collaborative record written by Moses, Joshua, and the children of Israel. Other writings of the Old Testament are the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel and the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah, mentioned in the books of Kings, in 1 Kings, chapter 14, verses 19 and 29. These accounts narrate events during the reigns of the kings Jeroboam of Israel and Rehoboam of Judah, respectively. The Chronicles of the Kings of Israel are again mentioned in 1 Kings, chapter 16, verse 20, regarding King Zimri. Both books are referenced more than 30 times throughout 1st and 2nd Kings. Also mentioned in the Holy Scriptures of the Old Testament is the Book of Nathan the Prophet, also called the Acts of Nathan the Prophet, or simply the history of the prophet Nathan. It is referred to in 1 Chronicles, chapter 29, verse 29, and also in Chronicles, chapter 9, verse 29. In addition to these, we also have the Book of Gad the Prophet, or the Acts of Gad the Prophet, mentioned in 1 Chronicles, chapter 29, verse 29. We also have the Book of the Prophet Ahijah, also known as the Prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite, possibly referenced in 1 Kings, chapter 14, verses 2 to 18, and mentioned in 2 Chronicles, chapter 9, verse 29. In the New Testament, we find the Book of Enoch being referenced in the letter of Jude, which refers to the ancient writings of the Book of Enoch, discussing fallen angels, demons, and ancient giants. This is perhaps the most famous apocryphal book known to date and is considered canonical by many Christians today, as well as by the canon of Ethiopian Christians. We also have the Book of Jannes and Jambres, the apocryphal Book of Jannes and Jambres, cited in 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 8, in which Jannes and Jambres resisted Moses. Additionally, there is the Epistle of Laodicea, mentioned in Colossians, chapter 4, verse 16. Other references include the 2 letters to the Corinthians, written by the Apostle Paul, mentioned in the Corinthians themselves, referenced in Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 9. There is also Paul's letter to the Ephesians, mentioned Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 3, where he writes that he had already briefly written in the book of Matthew. In Matthew, there is a quotation of a prophecy made to Jesus, mentioning the 30 pieces of silver, allegedly prophesied by Jeremiah. However, upon reading the book of Jeremiah, we do not find such a prophecy. In reality, according to what we know, there was a book of Jeremiah that was recognized in certain of Jesus, but was not added to the book as a lost book or simply non-canonical. However, as one of its prophecies is cited, it is considered a canonical book. This was a list of just a few books of the Old Testament mentioned as being from the Bible and referenced by the books that make up our canon of 66 books. Besides them, there are several other books, such as Judith and Tobit, which are recognized in the Catholic canon and were considered valid for the ancient Israelites. In addition to the apocryphal books mentioned in the scriptures, and which should be included in them, I remember a verse from the book of Revelation stating that plagues will fall upon those who remove or add anything to this book. The truth is that many books were removed from the Holy Scriptures, besides the apocryphal ones. It is also important to mention the pseudepigrapha, which are essentially false. The term pseudepigrapha derives from pseudo, which means false or deceitful in Greek, and epigraph, which refers to an inscription or writing. Therefore, they are false or falsely attributed books. The pseudepigraphal books were essentially works in which people pretended to be biblical characters, writing texts that were nothing but lies. Unfortunately, this occurred frequently in antiquity, and many of these works were considered false, not being recognized as authentic scriptures. We must be very careful with such texts, as they are nothing but deceptive fabrications. The discoveries of the Dead Sea Scrolls have provided us access to numerous ancient writings that were considered authentic and sacred to the ancient Essene Jews.
Okay, any comments on that? Anything stick out?
Shalom, everyone. I just think that the reason why they say what they say about the Apocrypha, right, is because the New Testament really has nothing to do with that. And it really just helps to knock the New Testament out of the box, right? So as we know, the New Testament is really coming from the Old Testament. So for instance, in the Apocrypha, in the book of Enoch, it tells us a whole lot more information about the angels, right? And the new, right, yes. So I think that is the reason why they keep saying that we should not be reading the Apocrypha, is because when it was removed, it had a whole lot more meat that connected a whole lot more dots for us.
Exactly. Right. And then you can look at it too, they were paranoid because you know that the people at that time was illiterate, but they wasn't. So they look at the book and they can see that it was connecting dots, and then they got rid of it. Because most of the people back then was illiterate. So yeah, now that's even proven to be a thorn in their side because what they should have took out, they didn't. Okay. Exactly. Somebody else had something? Yeah. Somebody has something?
It's Joyce. She's speaking, but we can barely hear her.
You gotta turn the volume
No,
up.
you gotta go up, Joyce.
Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me?
It's still low.
I got it all the way up. Okay, what about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I was just agreeing with both you, Sister Michelle, and Brother Leonard about it. Because as eyes are being open and dots connected, the truth is there and it's coming out, and they want to divert your attention from it. Because you can connect the dots. You can see where the New Testament doesn't line up.
Exactly. Right. Yes, like I said, especially now, and it's not a coincidence. We prophesied that He's going to pour His Spirit out on us, and then well, it's things that was being read for our grandmothers and grandfathers and great grandmothers. They didn't hit kids, but now the Spirit been poured out on us. Things starting to register. So, like I said, it's not a coincidence. It's just been prophesied, and we are part of that prophecy. Like I said, the prophecy is overtaking us as Hebrew Israelites. Okay?
Shalom. I have one question. He mentioned the Supagrapha. Is that true that everything in it does not match up? Or they want to divert you from the Supagrapha also?
Well, like I was saying before, when you understand what happened was our forefathers they was, like I said, they dealing with angels. They literally these angels is the most intelligent beings it is, and Israelite men is the only one talking to them. So that means they had to be highly intelligent. So they was writing everything down, which is what an intelligent person would do anyway. So they had everything wrote down, and they were sacred. And it was those books were only among us and among our forefathers, and it was passed down. But after Israel sinned against our Redeemer and He cast us out, they got access to those books. So what they did was, even to this day, they constantly trying to duplicate us, trying to pattern themselves after what they see us do and what our capabilities are. So they wanted to be prophets. So they would write. They had the books right there. So they would what they call I can't think of that word, but anyway, they
Plagiarize.
would plagiarize, right, plagiarize everything we did, but they put their name on it as if it was them, as if they wrote it, but they actually looking at it, and then they write, they putting parts of the truth in there, and then part of their story in there, and that's where the pseudepigrapha come from. And so then they turned around and made by what they was doing, they turned around and took books like Jasher, Jubilees, and all them and said that they was pseudepigrapha books. And that's how we got to where we at. But like I said before, with the Spirit of the Most High on you, you know when you're reading something that your forefather wrote down or came from the Creator. You can rightly divide it, especially after you get a foundation. So that ain't working no more.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna open it up for some Q&A or comments or things they came across they wanted to bring up and want to talk about for a minute before we go into our topic for discussion. Nobody have anything? Okay, yeah, like I was saying before, somebody had something?
No, sir, I was saying not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so I was saying that Tuesday night we was reading, let me see when that was, yeah, Tuesday night we was reading, and I was in the book of Enoch, but I thought I started my lesson out in the book of Enoch when I was preparing it, but I was actually in Jubilee. So somebody come across that video again. It just the verses and the precepts I was dealing with is in Jubilees, not in Enoch. Okay, get some clarity on that. There won't be no confusion. Okay, so with that being said, we'll go to our topic for discussion, and that's I was dealing with two women. The first one is Zipporah, right? And then we go to Noah's wife. Let's see what they have to say about that. So anybody know who Zipporah is?
I don't know.
That was Moses' wife, and
right.
Give me just, which is in the book of Exodus.
Right.
Right,
Exactly.
yes.
Right. The father was Jethro. And just for GPs, those are the people the Midianites come from. The children that came from Moses, came from Abraham. When Abraham married his second wife, Keturah. That's who those people are. They're
Okay.
Abraham's descendants. Right. So if you don't know the story, when Moses came back, he met Zipporah when he fled from the Pharaoh and fled from Egypt and then went to the wilderness, and he came upon these women that was watering their sheep, and then he helped them, and then his father was Jethro. That's how Abraham ended up. Moses ended up meeting Zipporah, and then so that when he go back to Egypt, where the Lord of hosts had sent him to deliver Israelites, the Israelites had a problem with him because of his wife. And so the reason being is Kenites, when you don't understand who the Kenites are, the Kenites are Israel's enemy. You know, they come from Cain, Kenites. So anyway, but the way that worked was those were the sons of Abraham, children of Abraham from Kirkuk, but they was Hebrews, but they was in the land of the Kenites. They weren't Kenites. They was in that geographical location. Same way we mistaken today as Africans, because they brought us from Africa. But when you trace our lineage and trace the history of how all that happened, we were Israelites that fled into Africa. And then the ships came to get us, and because we wasn't in our land on our proper identity, we was in somebody else's land, and we was labeled as part of them. That's why to this day they call us African Americans, but we're not African Americans. It's the same situation as that. They was Abraham's children, but they was in that geographical location of the Kenites, and that's why they had a problem with Noah with Moses when he brought up before them. They didn't want to deal with him because they said he had intermingled the seed. Okay. So anyway, I'm in comments.
Yes, sir. So is that why some of the Native Africans doesn't like the us that we are in the West? They don't claim us as being African.
Yeah, because like I was saying, I was having this conversation the other day, that migration. There's two migrations. Like I said, they talk about second exodus, but when we left Babylon was the second exodus. So it was over 1 million people that left Egypt. You don't think the people in that region, in that area, saw us when we left? The same in Babylon. When we left Babylon, going back to Israel, those people over there in that region, we've been brainwashed over here, but those people knew. They saw the people. They saw that mass migration, just like when we left from the north to the south. I mean, from the south to the north. I mean, today, we know why those people are up there and where they came from, because we witnessed it. So when Antiochus came, it was a mass migration out of the land of Israel into Africa. So those people know that we was Israelites. But the problem they had with the transatlantic slave trade was we had came into Africa and took their land. And they had a problem with that all the way up to the time when the slave ships came. When the slave ships came, the Europeans came, that was the opportunity to get rid of us. They said we was occupying their land. So that's what that is. And then that other hatred that you see going on is with Nigeria. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. The Nigerians have a problem with the African American. Like I said, that's Ephraim. Ephraim is the Nigerians. Those people in that region is Ephraim. There's a hatred going on between Ephraim and Judah because of both of them are like warrior like type tribe. They headship. They have headship. Ephraim is from Joseph, and Judah came from Jacob. Both of them are headship, and it was always drama between those two tribes because of that. And that's why he says, let me read it. Go ahead.
Shalom. It's yes, sir. As we go back to seeing how Hollywood did the Ten Commandments prior to them getting to the mountain and getting the tablets written, when they were leaving out of Egypt, they showed so many different tribes coming along with them. They, if you remember how they show the, I'll say the blacks because I don't know where they're from. They showed them coming with gold, and they had their tribe came from one area, and they were showing how different groups of people were coming, gathering to follow Moses toward the Red Sea. And I remember seeing that the blacks with the, I guess like the king or whatever, or the head tribe king or something, he had gold on him. They had earrings in their ears, and they were walking amongst them because they were showing all the less melanated people. And then when they showed that tribe coming through, they were very dark, and they were coming along with following Moses and the rest of them. So when you spoke of that part, that triggered my mind to how Hollywood was letting everyone know who all came out of Egypt, but really put the spotlight on Moses and those less melanated people. But they did bring the blacks into it. That's all.
Right. So they was all black. They just was different shades of blackness. There wasn't no white folks there. But it says, and that's a true depiction because of some Exodus chapter 12, verse 37. It said the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Sackcloth, about 600,000 on foot. There were men beside the children. Then 38, and a mixed multitude went up also with them. So they were trying to depict that, but was no white folks. That's where the trick drama come in at. So it was a mixed multitude that came out with the Israelites. Because if you go back to when Moses came across the women watering their sheep, they thought he was an Egyptian because the Egyptians was black and the Israelites was black. People of color. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So back to go ahead. Somebody had something.
Yes, sir. I just had a question when you was talking about Moses, right, and Zipporah, right, and you were saying that they did not accept his wife, right?
Right.
So in Numbers chapter 12, verse 1, where Miriam and Aaron spoke against that, right? This is the same woman, because here it says Ethiopian woman, right? But were you saying that was the same woman?
That is the same woman.
Right.
They're saying the Ethiopian is not part of Abraham's seed. So they're saying he didn't met a woman outside his lineage, but they Midianites.
Got you.
Midian is part of this. Thank you. After Abraham died, died. I think it's probably around 20. Somewhere in there, chapter 2, verse 8. Okay. Back. Okay. Abraham Amalek. Trying to find out when Abraham relatives death is settled. Yeah. 25. It says Genesis 25, starting at verse 1. It says, then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimah, Joktan, Midian. They go Midian right there. Midian, and Iscach and Shur. So Zipporah's father is he's the leader, he's the patriarch over the Midianites. He ascended from Midian, Jethro. So they, like I was saying, they in a geographical location where the Ethiopians at, but they're not Ethiopians. They're Abraham's children. They Hebrews, but they dwelling among Hamites and Canaanites, but they're not. They're not them. Just like over here, we Israelites, but we in a far country that's not ours, and that's what's going on with that situation. So Miriam and Aaron got a problem with that. So we know that's the case. We know that's the case because of Moses' two sons. Moses' two sons was priests. So they couldn't be not an Israelite and be a priest. You gotta be able to stop.
Okay. Got you. Right. I think my notes.
And that's when Moses Zipporah saved Moses' life. If anybody remember that story, he didn't circumcise. And the angel of the Lord was coming to kill him, and she saw him, and she took a stone and circumcised Gershom.
Right, cutting off his foreskin.
Right, he cannot be an Israelite if you're gonna kill him about it. He had to be like what they call a pure stock, righteous stock. That's a son born by an Israelite man and an Israelite woman. Like get pure stock, right? And that's what he was talking about when he said, "I planted a vine. I planted a vine, and it gave forth bowls, pure stock." Right.
Okay. Thank you. Like gotta correct my notes.
That was in Ezekiel 37. Back to that Ephraim and the problem with Ephraim and Manasseh. I mean Ephraim and Judah. So in 37, when he raised up our forefathers out of their graves, that's the first thing he do in verse 15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee a stick. So the stick is the nation of Israel, and write upon it for Judah, and then and for his companions. So Judah got Benjamin and Levi with him. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, that's his companion. And the children of Israel, which is the other stick, and his companions says, and for thee upon, okay, let me start over. It says, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel and his companions, then take another stick, write upon it for Joseph, right? The stick of Ephraim. So Joseph had two boys while he was in Egypt, Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim is the Joseph as Judah is to Jacob, the headship tribe, right? So then it says, and lawgivers, and said for all the house of Israel, his companions, join them. So you got to stick over here with Judah on it and stick with Ephraim on it. And so he says, all the way from the time of Solomon when he split the nation up to the day. That hatred been there. That's what's causing Israel not to come back together. So 17 says, join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. And thy people speak unto thee, saying, what will thou not show us what thou meanest by this? That's what I'm showing you now. Say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and his tribes, and the tribe of Israel and his fellows. That's the other 10 tribes. And I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before thine eyes. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and I will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. One nation, back to when David was there. I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them all, and no more 2 nations. Neither shall they be divided into kingdoms anymore at all. So that's what happened. Because of Ephraim and Manasseh, that's where the conflict comes from, Israel not coming back together. The hatred between those 2 tribes. So he's going to quell that. So, yeah. Okay. Anybody good on that?
Yes, sir. Does well, in Psalms 89, does that describe Ephraim also?
What verse is it?
I'm just going by the title. It says, much I cannot pronounce that name. It's Maschala of Ephraim, the Ezri Ezrahite.
What verse? What verse is that? That's the title or the verse?
That's the title. The title. And it's talking about. Let me go with the. It was just the title.
Psalms 89.
Yes, sir.
God should come for David.
Yes, sir. Oh, what in my book it
No,
says
that's
at Psalms 89, and it's got Machila of Ephraim.
no, that's
And it is
Ephraim.
right.
That's not Ephraim. ETH.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Ephraim is
okay.
ETH. Huh?
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's a man right there. Mascot. Right. That's one of the David had chief musicians that was under him. That's one of them.
Yes, sir. Okay, so the spelling was different. I went with the different spelling. Thank you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we're going to deal with Zipporah right now.
There's often much talk about the character Moses, his journey, his life, and his communion with God. However, have you had the opportunity to get to know Zipporah? Zipporah was Moses' wife, his companion whom he encountered in the region of Midian. In this video, I would like to delve into this intriguing character, one of the most interesting female figures in the Old Testament. So, I ask you to watch this video until the end, and if this video is relevant to you, share it with your friends and family. Follow this content further. The origin of Zipporah, the wife of the liberator Moses. There is a saying that goes, behind every great man, there is a great woman, and it's not without reason. Moses was the liberator of the people of Israel, the one who led and experienced extraordinary events, serving as an instrument of God, performing wonders in the land of Egypt, including the 10 plagues and the parting of the Red Sea. However, Moses' wife was not known in Egypt, and she was not an Israelite or Egyptian woman either. So, where was Moses' wife from? What was her homeland, and what was her origin? Moses met Zipporah when he fled Egypt due to the Pharaoh's anger. After killing an Egyptian to defend a Hebrew and thinking that no one had witnessed the incident, Moses, later, when trying to intervene in a dispute between two Hebrews, was accused of murder. Thus, while fleeing Egypt, Moses went to Midian, where he established his residence. Moses left the land of Egypt at the age of 40 and headed to the region of Midian, located in present-day Saudi Arabia, covering part of the Gulf and the Sinai Peninsula. When Moses arrived in that land, in that region, he met a priest who worshipped the same God as the Israelites. This priest was a Midianite. Over time, living and dwelling with this priest, who eventually became his father-in-law, Moses chose one of the daughters of Jethro, the Midianite, to be his wife and companion. There is a debate about Zipporah's origin, especially because, in the book of Numbers, chapter 12, she is called a Cushite woman, literally, a woman of Ethiopian, Sudanese, or Somali descent, coming from the lineage of Africa. The question arises of how she could be Cushite when she is the daughter of Jethro, a Semitic man. It is worth noting that Semites are not Cushites, they are not descendants of Cush and are not Africans. Semites descend from Shem, such as Abraham and other characters in the Old Testament. To understand Zipporah's origin, whether Cushite or Semitic, it is essential to initially understand that in the land of Midian, not only Ishmaelites and Midianites lived, but also Cushites. In this region, Ethiopians and Sudanese, who still reside in countries like Saudi Arabia, Yemen, existed. It is crucial to emphasize that, although Jethro was Semitic, he did not share that origin, being Cushite and hailing from Ethiopia. Zipporah, the daughter of a Semitic father and a Cushite mother, genetically inherited characteristics from her mother, manifesting as a black woman. Thus, Zipporah, one of Jethro's 7 daughters, was born with the appearance of a Cushite woman. In addition to the daughters, Jethro also had a son named Hobab. As for the name Zipporah, it has various meanings, originating from the Aramaic dialect, which unfolded to the descendants of Midian, stemming from Abraham and Keturah. The name Zipporah encompasses meanings such as bird or female bird, goat, beautiful, and morning. These meanings have been identified in various Semitic languages. Undoubtedly, Zipporah is an ancient name that traces back to the ancestral Midianite language. As Moses' wife, Zipporah gave birth to 2 sons, Gershom and Eleazar. Regarding the birth of Gershom, the biblical text in Exodus chapter 2, verses 21 and 22, and Moses consented to dwell with that man, and he gave unto Moses his daughter Zipporah, who bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom, for she said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. As for Eleazar, whose name means God is help, the Bible states that Moses gave him this name in reference to the fact that God had helped and delivered him from the Pharaoh's sword. These sons were born during the 40 years that Moses sojourned in the land of Midian, spending an additional 20 years before being called by God. An unexpected and somewhat curious situation recorded in the Bible is the circumcision of Gershom, an intriguing episode in the biblical narrative that highlights the significant role of Zipporah in Moses' life and family. The account, found in Exodus 4 verses 24 to 26, presents a peculiar obedience to religious practices. After God's call for Moses to lead the Israelites in the liberation of Egypt, he set out with his family towards Egypt. However, an unexpected...
So this is one of the examples I was telling you about, how when you go back and look at when they listing those kings, when they reigned and who their mother was and who they married, you notice something about the king, David's sons, David's lineage kings, was marrying the priest's daughters. Those were peculiar women because they was raised by the priest, by those priests. And like I said, those priests were men wonder there on the earth because they're dealing with angels. So those girls was in a peculiar situation. Their father they was around their father, and he dealing with these angels. So you say, what are you talking about? Bathsheba. Lame, Liam, that was her father. He was a priest. And he was, when you go to and look at that, look at the book of Nathan, he was always going and praying to the Lord because of Bathsheba's beauty. And he was praying to the Lord, dealing with these angels, petitioning that Bathsheba marry a king because of her beauty and because of her intellect, her being raised up right by those priests. So he was praying that she married a king. So, like I said before, Uriah was following him when he go and pray. When he go and pray, Uriah was listening in, so he knew just what to do, how to get at Bathsheba. That's how he got Bathsheba. He got her by trickeration. So when you understand that what her father was praying for, the Creator actually brought that to pass. Because he gave her Solomon, he gave her David. And that's the reason Solomon was chosen as one of the reasons Solomon was chosen as to succeed David, because of, those prayers and all that had happened from her father. So anyway, right here, you got to look at this situation. Moses, Jethro is a priest. So no, any woman would have knew what to do. They wouldn't have knew what to do to save Moses. She knew what to do because she was raised, with her father, around her father. He had showed all that. She knew all that, experienced all that because she was around here. So she knew what to do. She knew how to circumcise a kid, a male child. She knew how to do it. So she turned the wrath off of Moses. And nobody never really see that, but back in the day, I was looking at that and I saw that, and I was like, okay, I see what's going on now. That's why they mentioned, in First, Second Chronicles and First, Second Kings, they would mention the mother, and they mention the mother name and who her daddy was. So, but most people not paying attention to that. But it's these kings is marrying these high priests and these Levites daughters. Okay, they connected at the hip.
Unexpected circumstance occurred during the journey. The text says, at a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and sought to put him to death. Then Zipporah took a flint and cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' feet with it and said, surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me. Exodus.
So let's look at that. It says Zipporah took the flint, cut off her son's foreskin, Gershom foreskin, touched Moses' feet with it, and said, surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me. So what is that? What's that talking about? If you go back, remember that when they anointed Aaron, they put blood on the tip of his ear. Then they put blood on the tip of his toes. That's what that is. So Zipporah took a flint. And then, so like I said, you got to understand how she knew that. How she knew to do that because of Jethro. Raul, they call it Raul in Jasher. But it says Zipporah took a flint, cut off her son's foreskin, and blood on it, touched Moses' feet with it, and said, surely you are the bridegroom of blood to me. So like I said, what? I mean, when you don't know that.
4 verses 24 to 25. This incident raises several questions and interpretations. Firstly, circumcision was an essential practice in Jewish tradition, a sign of the covenant between God and the descendants of Abraham. Moses apparently neglected this practice concerning his son Gershom, which drew divine anger. Zipporah's role in this event is crucial. She takes the initiative to perform the circumcision on Gershom, using a flint. Her action is swift and decisive, indicating a profound understanding of the family's religious obligations. By touching Moses' feet, She acknowledges the importance of circumcision to maintain the covenant with God. Zipporah's expression, "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me," highlights the seriousness of the covenant and the need for Moses to fulfill divine ordinances.
So that's a prime example right there of what, when you know, no matter what you do, more a lot of hosts already know what you already got things in place. It couldn't have been nobody else but us to be there to do that. That's how you work. So, in comments.
Shalom.
Okay,
Is that
I'm over here in Jasper.
Shalom, sir?
Okay,
Was that in Exodus?
I'm listening.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 25 to 27.
Right.
That's where he read it from? Okay, thank you.
But it's just more, yeah, I'm gonna read out of I'm gonna read out the book of Jasher. It go more in depth because of not only you gotta understand where did Moses get his staff from. The staff that Moses had. He didn't just, that's not just any old staff he found anywhere. You'll find out that the staff is tied to Excalibur, just like with King Arthur. They had the sword stuck down in the stone. Nobody could pull it out. So let's check it out. So go to chapter 37 in the book of Joshua. It says, I'm gonna start at verse 24. And God heard the voice of the children of Israel and their cry in those days. And God remembered them, his covenant, which he had made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And God saw the burden of the children of Israel and their heavy work in those days, and he determined to deliver them. And Moses, son of Abraham, was still confined in a dungeon in those days in the house of Raul the Midianite. So see, they call him Raul right here. And Raul the Midianite and Zipporah, the daughter of Raul, did support him with food secretly, day by day. And Moses was confined in a dungeon in the house of Raul for 10 years. So Raul got him in the dungeon because he knows she's looking for him. So he's holding him. So it says, and at the end of 10 years, which was the first year of the reign of Pharaoh over Egypt in place of his father. So Seti is in the reign of he became king. That's who Moses was raised with, Seti. So it says, Zipporah said to her father Raul, no person inquires or seeks after the Hebrew whom thou didst bind in prison now 10 years. Now therefore, if it seems good in thy sight, let us send and see whether he is living or dead. But her father knew not that she had supported him. And Raul, her father, answered and said to her, has ever such a thing happened, that a man should be shut up in prison without food for 10 years, and that he would live? And Zipporah answered her father, saying, surely thou hast heard that God of the Hebrews is great and awful, and does wonders for them all the time. It was who delivered Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans, and Isaac from the sword of his father, and Jacob from the angel of the Lord who wrestled with him at the ford of Jacob. Also with this man has he done many things. He delivered him from the river in Egypt, from the sword of Pharaoh. So also can he deliver him from in the sight of Raul. And he did according to the words of his daughter, and sent to the dungeon to ascertain what became of Moses. And he saw, and behold, the man Moses was living in a dungeon, standing upon his feet, praising and praying to the God of his ancestors. And Raul commanded Moses to be brought out of the dungeon. So they shaved him, and he changed his prison garments and ate bread. And afterwards, Moses went into the garden of Raul. Here we go. In the garden of Raul, which was behind the house. And And he there prayed to the Lord his God, who had done mighty wonders for him. And it was that while he prayed, he looked opposite to him, and behold, a sapphire stone was placed in the ground, which was planted in the midst of the garden. Right. So remember in Ezekiel, the Most High's throne is made out of sapphire. So, and he approached the stick, and he looked, and was engraved thereon, written and developed upon the stick. And he read it, and stretched forth his hand, and he plucked it like a forest tree from the thicket, and the stick was in his hand. And this is the stick which all the works of our God will perform after he had created heaven and earth, and all the hosts of them, seas, rivers, and all their fishes. And when God had driven Adam from the Garden of Eden, he took the stick in his hand and went and tilled the ground from which he had taken. And the stick came down to Noah and was given to Shem and his descendants until it came into the hands of Abraham the Hebrew. And when Abraham had given all he had to his son Isaac, he also gave him the stick. And when Jacob had fled to Paneram, he took it into his hands. And when he returned to his father, he had not left it behind him. Also, when he went down into Egypt, he took it into his hand and gave it to Joseph, one portion above his brethren, for Jacob had taken it by force from his brother Esau. And after the death of Joseph, the nobles of Egypt came into the house of Joseph, and the stick came into the hands of Raoul the Midianite. And when he went out of Egypt, he took it in his hand and planted it in his garden. Okay? And all the mighty men of the Kenites tried to pluck it when they endeavored to get Zipporah his daughter, but they were unsuccessful. So that the stick remained planted in the garden of Raoul until he came who had the right to it and took it. And Raoul saw the stick in the hand of Moses. He wondered at it, and he gave him his daughter Zipporah for a wife. So I keep reading. So it says, at that time died Baal Chamlin, son of Achbor, king of Edom, and was buried in his house in the land of Edom. And after his death, the children of Esau sent to the land of Edom and took from there a man who was in Edom, whose name was Hadad, and they made him king over them in the place of Baal Chamlin, their king. And Hadad reigned over the children of Edom 48 years. And when he reigned, he resolved to fight against the children of Moab, to bring them under the power of the children of Esau as they were before. But he was not able to, because of the Moab. But Moab heard this thing, and they were hastened to elect the king over them from amongst their brethren. And they afterward gathered together a great people and sent to the children of Ammon, their brethren, to help to fight against Hadad, king of Edom. And Hadad heard the thing which the children of Moab had done, and was greatly afraid of them, and he refrained from fighting with them. In those days, Moses, the son of Abraham of Midian, took Zipporah, the daughter of Raoul the Midianite, for a wife. And Zipporah walked in the ways of all the daughters of Jacob. She was nothing short of righteousness of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. So there it is. So that's what's not in the King James. Any comments on that?
Shalom. That staff is pretty old. If it was from Adam out of the Garden of Eden to all the way to Moses, and then where,
Right.
so they don't know where the staff is at now, correct? Or not? Do they know?
Nah, they don't know where it's at. I think that when Moses went up on Mount Nebo, I think it was wherever Moses went, it went with. That's where
Moses had excuse me, he had a tabernacle, correct?
Well,
He
to be
probably put
unwrapped.
it in the
What's
ark.
that?
He probably hid it in the Holy Ark, his tabernacle, because he went to the tabernacle. He probably hid it inside of there.
It's not mentioned. It's not mentioned in the scripture nowhere. It's in the ark. It's got the Ten Commandments. It's got that omer, what they used, what they made when he was feeding them angel food. They put that omer of angel food in there. I think it's yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I remember a story about that. Said that the bird. I mean, that's kind of suspect with me on that. That's why I really don't never want to talk about it. But if you go back to all the men in Israel, about the 12 sons, all of them had a staff. And they wanted to know who was going to do what. And Moses' staff budded. So I can't see it being sapphire. It budded. Because all of them had a staff is made of wood that they petrified or shaded down and fashioned it. But so that's why I had budded. Moses' stick can't remember the story, but it budded. And stick of Judah budded.
Yes, sir. King David had a staff also, correct? Did King David have a staff also?
Yeah, I think all of them had staff. All of them had staff. That's a part of their authority. Their staff. Even Judah. Remember Judah and Tamar? She had his ring and staff. Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Okay, we'll play this right here and then we close it out. This is a little bit about Noah's wife.
Traveling the Scriptures channel. In the diversity of humanity, we find numerous tribes, peoples, and ethnicities, all part of the same human race, with ethnic variations among the descendants of Noah. In this video, I wish to present to you the origin of a biblical character mentioned in the Bible, although not by name but by her existence. I am here to share the story of Noah's wife, the matriarch of humanity, the mother of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Please watch until the end, and if you find the content enlightening, share it with those who, like you, seek more knowledge in the scriptures. That said, let's continue with our series on the matriarchs of humanity, which concludes with this video. The origin of Noah's wife, the matriarch of humanity. In the last few videos of this series, I discussed other matriarchs of humanity, namely the wives of Noah's 3 sons. I started the series by talking about Shem's wife, who is mentioned as Setekilabab in the Book of Jubilees. In this series, we are considering some information from ancient Jewish traditions, such as those found in the Book of Jubilees. The central point of the story of Noah's wife is intricately connected to the biblical account of the universal flood.
It turns out there is one sect that
She, along with her husband Noah, played a crucial role in the narrative of the flood, which is one of the most iconic and well-known stories in the Bible. Noah, a righteous man in the eyes of God, received the divine charge to build an ark to shelter himself, his family, and a pair of every animal species during the great flood that God was about to send as a punishment to corrupt humanity. Noah's wife was not a mere spectator in this epic construction. She was
Mr. Gentile right here. Watch how you inject this in there.
Partner and supported him unconditionally during the building of the ark, which was a monumental task. The Bible does not specify the details of her involvement, but it is safe to assume that she had an active role in preparing the ark, taking care of the family and the animals to be saved, and sharing Noah's faith and determination. Together, they faced skepticism and ridicule from others as they built a gigantic vessel in preparation for the impending flood. They personify unity, trust, and perseverance in the face of adversity. After the devastation of the flood, Noah's wife continued to play a crucial role in the history of humanity. Of Noah, she was one of the only 8 people who survived the waters that covered the earth. With the flood finally dissipating and the ark resting on Mount Ararat, Noah's wife and her family emerged as the only human beings left in a world that needed to be repopulated. She and Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who became the progenitors of different ethnic groups and nations. Thus, Noah's wife played a crucial role in the continuity of the human lineage, contributing to the diversity of cultures that emerged after the flood. This narrative underscores the importance of family and the continuity of life in a new era of human history. Noah's sons, with their mother, became the pillars of a new society, spreading to different regions of the world and playing significant roles in the biblical narrative. For instance, the descendants of Shem are the ancestors of the Hebrew people in the Middle East, while Ham is associated with several African nations, and Japheth is seen as the forebear of Indo-European and Asian groups. Noah's wife, therefore, is indirectly linked to all these lineages and the rich tapestry of human history. We live in a diverse world with different peoples, ethnicities, colors, and traits, but we all share a single similarity that unites us. We belong to the same race, the Adamic race.
Okay, so let's look at that. Okay, so he sit there and said that you got today, after the flood, you got Asians, you got Africans, you got Europeans and all them. He's saying that all them people came from Noah. And reason being it's because of Noah's wife. Does that make any sense?
No, sir.
Any comments on that? So we ain't never had no woman before the flood or after the flood had all these different type of people.
Correct.
She can only produce. See what I'm saying? So then he said, not only that, he said that it's only fitting and proper and makes sense that she had an equal role in what was going on after the flood, before the flood, when they was getting animals and all that, right? Well, if you rightly divide it, we know that Ham is a 6-day man. He's a servant. Ham helping him. And then he said, get a male and a female, all flesh. He got Japheth helping him. They ain't none of his sons, but he had to duplicate what was on earth before the rain came. He wanted him to duplicate that and put it in the ark. So he had to get a man and a woman from the 6th day. He had to get a man and Cain descendants, and then him and his wife, and his son and his wife Shem. There's 3 men there right there to help him. But he wants to go and say that put all this emphasis on Noah's wife. That's what the pagans do. So then you say, well, what you talking about? Well, look what they did with Mary. She's supposed to be so special because she had a baby without no man. We know that's a lie. And then he said that she's the mother of all. Noah's wife is the mother of all living. Do that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell for anybody?
Okay, could you say that again, sir?
He says Noah's wife is the mother of all living.
Yes, sir. I think he said that because after the flood, she was the last woman, but there was 3 women on the boat, 4 altogether. So I don't know. No, sir.
So what is he?
Eve is the first
Mother of
woman.
all living.
Well, yeah.
Eve, the
She
mother
was the
of
first
Eve
mixed
is the
route.
mother of all
Yes, sir.
living. So he jumped over there and put it on Eve because you sitting there talking about or Chinese, Europeans, and Africans, all of them came from her. Come on, man. See how crazy that is?
Yes, sir. And he didn't even say who her father was or where did Noah get her from.
Right. And another thing too is we see Abraham had 200 giants with him. David had giants with him. We know Judah had giants with him. All of them had giants. So you think it wasn't Melchizedek? Noah is Melchizedek at the time. So you think it wasn't giants that helping him with that all?
Yes, sir. Had to, because of the cubic feet that they were speaking of. Noah's size could not uh, carry that size of cubic feet that he was talking about
Exactly.
that he needed to make the ark.
Right. So he took all that labor and all that technology and all that and put it on Noah's wife. Okay, is it something? No, she's doing the same thing with it. With Eve and all the rest of them did. They helped me. They played their role. It was men there and giants.
Yes, sir.
That's how we got to do every day.
Shalom, Brother Larry. Yes, sir. Brother Larry, I had looked at a YouTube that showed about Noah's wife, and it mentioned Lamech. That was her, saying that it was her father, but I don't know what verse that came from. But in this YouTube, it says that the text describes her as the daughter of Lamech and her sisters of Tubal-Cain.
Right, that's in Jasher.
Okay.
It's in Jasher. It's Naaman. You're talking about Naaman.
Yes, sir. It mentions Naaman.
Right, right. So yeah, it says that, and then she was if I'm not mistaken, she was 100 years older than Noah. She was older than him because if you read the scriptures, Noah was, and nobody really looks at it, but let's look at it. It said Noah. Okay.
We're going to be in the book of Jasher.
No, I'm in the King James.
Yes, sir.
It says, okay. I think it's in chapter 6. It says, and there was a Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. There was a generation. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a perfect man. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, DNA, phenotype. And Noah walked with God. Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt before the Lord, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. Let's see. Said, all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh. I don't see it, but I don't know if I'm in the right place or not, but it says that Noah was 500 years old when he got married. So it's unusual. He was 500 years old when he got married. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see.
Genesis 5:32. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Okay, yeah. This in the lineages when this is before Genesis 6. Okay. So it says, been a while since I dealt with this. Yeah. Say the wickedness of mankind. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth. So it was 32, yeah, 30.
Right above
Lamech
that, yes.
lived after he begot Noah 500 years, and he 505 years, and he begot sons and daughters. The days of Lamech was 775 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and he begot Shem. So he's 500 years old. So that's unusual. 500 years. All the rest of you see they was 65 and 85 when they had their son, their firstborn son. But Noah, because of what was going on earth, wasn't the women, so many women was being defiled by those angels and by those giants and all that and other men. There wasn't no righteous women on earth. So it was 500 years before Noah found a righteous woman. Is there something? And like I
Yes, sir.
said, a lot of people don't look at them, don't see that. And then so you could when you go to I think it's in the book of Jasher that it tells you that, and we don't know if it's the same person or not because it don't make sense. Naaman was defiled when Noah hooked up with her. If he did hook up with her, which it don't make sense. He said Noah was perfect in his generation. That's the reason he put him on the boat. So why would he put Naaman on there? And she was defiled because when you look at the book of Lamech, it said that that's what was going on in the city of Enoch was the same thing that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. And they said those fallen angels and those giants was all of them had their way with Naaman. So she was defiled. So how can Noah take her for a wife? Don't make sense. Sound like something pagan to me. And there's some. And then
Yes,
she had
sir.
Shem. She had Shem. Shem is righteous. Shem ended up becoming Melchizedek. So Naaman can't be his mom. Okay. Yeah.
Shalom,
So
shalom,
right.
shalom. They have so many
Okay.
versions of who Noah's wife was. So many YouTubes and things that are coming out saying she was a gypsy. She was different people, different ethnic background, and she wasn't all pure. And just like you said, why would Noah marry someone who wasn't, righteous? So they have a lot
Right.
on this YouTube. I was trying to find it out when I put it in for Noah's wife, and they're coming up with so many different things that it makes you think which one is real. Yes, sir. And I
Yeah,
think they
real
did
well,
that
real.
just so they can carry on with the different ethnic backgrounds having, um, like they said, Ham was black, but who was the rest of them? Was there Korean, Chinese, and all these different things that he mentioned? She only supposed to have had 3 sons, so why would they
Right.
be all so many different, you know, breed of different ethnic backgrounds when she's just one person? And Noah is not, he's not Indian, he's not Jew, he's not Chinese or anything like that. So again, a fruit bears the same fruit, correct?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have a proper foundation, the right foundation, because a lot of that stuff get answered because of you standing on a sure foundation. So it nullifies a lot of it. Yeah. Anybody else? Got anything before we go?
No, sir.
Everybody good? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, tomorrow we got Clubhouse 7 9, and then we got Shabbats on Saturday in the morning, 10 to 12, and then we come back and close the Shabbat out from 6 to 7. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.